Help me welcome my friend, Jeni Coppage. She is a certified life and nutrition coach for midlife women. She specializes in mindset, habit building, and intentional living through one-on-one coaching and her quarterly LiveWell 45 challenge. She loves helping women create lives that they love instead of just surviving the one that they're living. Welcome, Jeni.
Hey, Stephanie, thank you so much for having me.
So glad you're here. I know we have had such great conversations, even just before starting this call. And over the years, we got to know each other through our life coach training and certification. And it's just been a pleasure to get to know you. So I'm excited for our listeners to hear what you're up to these days.
Yes, yes. Well, as you know, and maybe some of your listeners know, I started 6 years ago coaching women in nutrition and then hired a life coach, joined life mentoring school, and was completely changed as a wife, as a mom, as a woman. And when the opportunity to become certified as a life coach, something I realized as a nutrition coach with women, one of the big distinguishers between women who achieved their goals and women who didn't was their mindset and the way that they believed about themselves and their ability to
Mhm.
achieve the goals and to make the change needed. So when the opportunity came to be certified, I knew that I just needed to do that. And then as the years have gone by, I still do, one-on-one coaching. And then in my Live Well 45 challenge, there is a nutrition component to it. But I've shifted more to just general life coaching, supporting women in all aspects of their lives and showing them a lot of times that the reason that they're not achieving their health and wellness goals is because of their mindset and even other areas not related to that. So it's
Mhm.
been just a great way to merge all aspects of caring for a woman. And that's what I love helping women do. Just
Mhm.
really, having a life that they're so excited to get up for and to live and have the belief that they can achieve what they want.
Yes. And you're right, that mindset piece is so important. And I think we as women can kind of lose sight of that because
Yeah.
we're often busy caring for those around us, right?
Yes,
Serving
yes,
those around us.
yes. We know how to take care of and show up for everyone else in our lives, right?
Mhm.
We can do what we have to do so well.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to doing what we want to do, the things that the desires of our heart that God has put on us, growing into our purpose, especially in the midlife years, maybe when our kids are, if they haven't already all left the house, they're more grown, they need us less and less, and we have the time, we have the bandwidth to chase after these desires. And we don't know, we tell ourselves we don't know how because we haven't given ourselves the evidence. There hasn't been a whole bunch of proof in our lives that, like, oh, I do something just for me
Yeah,
because I
exactly.
want to. A lot of times women feel guilty about that. Sometimes they feel shame. Sometimes if our spouses or kids might like, what do you mean you're not available for me? Or what do you mean you're doing that for you? And you get to choose how you think about that. And a lot of times you're like, yeah, I am doing this for me. And what a great role model it is
Hmm. Yes,
for
it is.
our
I agree.
family and for our kids to see like, oh, mom can, almost have like a second version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so true because that is what we have, our brain looks for that evidence, of what we've always done, or maybe even the things that we've been told or heard through society, and so all of a sudden our brain has to almost like create a whole new neural pathway that, oh, wait, you're going to do something for you to take care
Mhm.
of you. That's
Yeah.
kind of a new thought for a lot of us in that season. So you're exactly right.
Right. And some women, like I coach some women that they know that they're, made for more. They know
Yeah.
they're called to something, but they don't know what.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's, confusion. So just learning how to like shift through your thoughts, process the desires of your hearts and really find purpose and have the confidence and the belief that you can actually make the change.
Exactly. So you and I know as coaches that we get to go first, right? In kind of stepping into that new role or that new chapter. And so I've loved watching you do that. And you've been putting some really beautiful things out there, some offers for people. And I know like your Live Well 45 challenge is one of those. And you talk frequently about like the habits that we create. You even go on and share recipes. I love all of that you've been doing. So tell us more about that.
Yes, for me personally, I've always been into fitness and nutrition. It's just how I'm wired to enjoy that. And that's not the case for everybody. And that doesn't mean that being healthy and being fit isn't for you. It's just you have to work on that aspect.
Mhm.
Just like for me, I'm someone that struggles more to make time to read and to journal and to, to kind of do the slower paced things that
Mhm.
are really good for myself. So in my Live Well 45 challenge, again, I talked to you about when I was just coaching women strictly on nutrition, it really was that belief aspect and creating the habits that would support them doing the things that they said they wanted to do. So in my Live Well 45 challenge, we work on 5 habits that we build and we focus on. And they are we drink 64 ounces of water a day. We follow an eating plan. And what I love about this is everyone gets to choose whatever eating plan they
Mhm.
want. And
Mhm.
I'm certified as a nutrition coach, so I can even provide a custom eating plan, but we break it down into something so simple. I always tell my clients, the more simple, the better. And I know women, as women, we want to go big and go hard and see drastic results, but we
Mhm.
all have evidence that that doesn't always work.
Right.
Right? We've all done the drastic thing for 6 weeks, dropped a bunch of weight, but then can you maintain that forever? No,
Mhm.
most people cannot, and they haven't built that into those habits and those ways of eating and living into their day-to-day lives. It's just
Right.
like it's something with a start date and an end date, and then they a lot of times just revert back to their old habits. So with this, I tell people just pick one thing. Some of my clients are just, not eating sugar for 45 days, or they're
Mhm.
not eating any wheat or grain or dairy or something that they know doesn't make them feel well. Some people are focusing on just eating whole food. So it's just something really simple, because as you get good at something small, you can increase,
Mhm.
to something larger. Like, oh, if you give up sugar, then maybe, we'll cut back on, more processed foods or adding more vegetables in. I also like to have a focus of don't focus so much on what you don't eat, focus on what to add in. So they have an eating plan. And then we do 45 minutes of movement a day, which is a challenge, right? Like call it a
Mhm.
Live Well 45 challenge. And when you work out or just exercise, and I always tell people, like, cleaning your house can count towards your movement.
Mhm.
Like the goal should be not sitting on the couch, not scrolling on your phone, getting your brain more comfortable up and about moving, so that when you're not doing it, you almost feel discomfort. That's where I
Mhm.
am in my life. I have to get some form of movement, even if it's just a walk around the block for 15 minutes a day. I can't not move my body because I start to feel like a little bit antsy, because
Mhm.
my body knows, like, oh, we move, and I enjoy it, and it's almost calming to me. So we do 45 minutes of movement, and then we read 7 pages of personal development books, and then journal for 3 minutes. And I like to break it down like this: the water and the eating supports our physical body,
Mhm.
the reading and journaling supports our emotional and our mental state,
Yeah.
and then the movement combines them both.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that explanation.
And
Great way to put that.
yeah, it's really powerful, because yes, our movement is so good for our physical health. We know that, but science is proving with so many studies that are coming out that exercise is as effective, if not more effective, than antidepressant medication.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's powerful.
It is powerful. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
So, and by doing these little small habits, that's why I'm always like, this is a lot. So make your eating challenge, your eating plan simple so you don't feel overwhelmed by that. But after 45 days, people have built evidence like, oh, yeah, those days that I was journaling just for a few minutes,
Mhm.
I felt more in control of my thoughts. I felt less
Mhm.
overwhelmed.
Mhm.
Oh, what I learned from reading that personal development book, it could
Mhm.
be any topic that you're interested in, that added value to my life that I otherwise probably would have just been scrolling
Mhm.
on
Exactly.
Instagram or TikTok or Facebook and not really walking away with much value. A lot of times you walk away from spending time on social media feeling less than or not enough,
Mhm.
discouraged. So
Yeah.
it's really just, reframing our intention and direction with our time and our energy and our
Mm.
focus.
Yeah, I love that. And it does go back again to that whole idea of your brain looks for that evidence to continue. So it's like as we do these habits, like in those 45 days, and then they become kind of a new routine, and your brain starts to say, oh, look, I really can do this. I can stay on my plan and walk or whatever your exercise is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I always tell, like, it's not about being perfect. If there's a day when, life happens and you don't get to all these habits, it's okay.
Right.
And what I also love that I do in this 45-day challenge is we take Sundays off.
Mm.
Because here's
Right.
another thing with women. We love to do things perfectly. We love to be good at things and we think that we should. And when you start like, especially with like your eating or workout, you think you need to be perfect at it every day. And when you're not, you miss a day. Our brains love to tell us like, see, really wasn't for you. You
Mhm.
always quit. And then maybe you'll go back the next day, but a lot of times people don't. They miss another day, and next thing they're just completely given up. So by taking one day off intentionally and eating however you want, laying on the couch all day, not reading, not journaling, and then going back to it Monday, your brain just starts to realize like, oh, that's just what we do. It's okay to have a day that you don't do something perfectly. It
Mhm.
takes away that shame and guilt, and it doesn't talk so loudly that you're doing it wrong. You're actually doing
Mhm.
it right.
Yeah.
So that's really
It,
powerful.
that does seem very powerful. It kind of gives yourself permission to just rest as our body is designed to do anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of the women that have gone through my Live Well 45 also do one-on-one coaching with me. And
mhm.
I love that they are like, those habits are so life-changing. And a
Mhm.
lot of times they realize how powerful they were after the challenge has ended. And maybe they, but they weren't doing them all every
Mhm.
single day, but they realize like, oh, that journaling, that reading, just that calming my brain at night before I go to bed, is such a better way for me to wind down. But
Mhm.
one of the main tools that all of my one-on-one coaching clients really gotten the most from is journaling.
Journaling. Yeah. And
Mhm.
it's funny, that's only the 3 minute segment, right?
It's the shortest one, right? I'm on
Mhm.
it because that is one that most people have the most resistance to. They think they don't have time for. So I made it really short and easy because you can always
Mhm.
journal for longer if you have time.
That's right.
Um, but yeah, just to get people in the habit of every day just opening up. In fact, I just realized today when I went to write in my journal that even though it is the 23rd of January, 2026, I have written 2025 every single day in my journal. I was like, I just noticed today I wrote 25 and I look back, I said, yeah, I've written 2025 for every single day. So
Oh, that's neat. But I love that you're consistently doing the very thing that you're asking your clients to do, which is
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
Mhm.
I tell them, I'm like, this is just as much for me. And I offer it every quarter because Stephanie, you and I know we make 90-day goals because you
Yes.
can accomplish as much in, 90 days as you set out to do for a whole
Mhm.
year. And so 45 days is the first half of that. So it kind of gives you a little jump start, a way to like
Mhm.
gain control and direction. And then it gives you 45 days to, maintain or see what really you want to work deeper on. Maybe you want to read more. Maybe you want to work out more or hone in on your eating plan. Or journal more and then come back again because my clients that have done this more than one round, that's really when they're like, okay, this is becoming who I am. It's
Mhm.
really solidifying itself. And I think having that gap where you kind of do it on your own for a little bit, you realize like how powerful accountability is, how powerful
Mhm.
doing something as a group is.
Yes.
And I check in with my clients. They have access to me via Voxer. It's just a great support. I think
Yeah.
we go farther together in everything.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I agree with you. The whole group coaching is just such a beautiful concept. As you know, I have a small group coaching program also. And I love that accountability and also that community that you get when you're together like that, for sure.
I always tell people, I'm like, ask any question because I guarantee you're not the only one. You're
Right.
not the only one that's struggling. Also, if you find something that works, so, share that as well because
Mhm.
that's what we're all here for. We're just walking this road in life together. And, if you find something that works, it's awesome to share and encourage
Mhm.
other women.
Yeah. Another thing that you just said too was about becoming, like your brain starts to see who you're becoming. And I was just speaking with a client about this yesterday, how sometimes when we set these goals, yes, we want to reach that goal, but it
Mhm.
is more about who we're becoming in that process.
Yes.
So it's a very good mindset to have is to look at that. Don't you agree?
100%. Last year, I randomly on January 1st of 2025 decided I was going to close all the rings on my Apple Watch. And I did that every single day. And because I'm already so active and stuff, it really wasn't to achieve a health goal or fitness goal. It was just to see if I could do it because
Mhm.
I am someone who struggles with consistency. I'm really excited at the beginning, but then my excitement and motivation kind of dwindles. So I'm like, can I do this every day this year? And I did. While it wasn't easy, I did it. And so now I have proof. So there wasn't a goal like to lose weight or be able to, run a marathon or anything like that. It was just like, can I be the type of person who keeps my word to myself and do this almost tedious task every single day of the year? And
Mhm.
now I can say with honesty, if I really set my mind to something, I can do anything.
That's right.
Obviously, I mean, within reason, physically,
Mhm.
I can't run
Mhm.
a 2 hour marathon or anything like that. But if it's something I know that I can do it. And if I'm not doing it, I can trace it back to my thoughts and my beliefs.
That's right. That's a very big piece of the puzzle right there, is
That's a huge piece of the
recognizing.
puzzle. And then when
Mhm.
you can like work on that, you solve
Mhm.
the puzzle so quickly and
Mhm.
actually will get the result.
That's right. So it really does all go back to mindset.
It does.
It really
It
does.
does
Yeah.
go back to our mindset and how we think about it because our thoughts
Mhm.
produce our results.
They really do.
And we sit there, we try to like change our actions and our behavior.
Mhm.
But if you have not gone back and dug deep into your beliefs, into your thoughts, it's so much harder. It's not impossible, but
Mhm.
it's more difficult to change
More-
your actions in a way that is permanent change.
Right. A sustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
That new becoming, that
Yeah.
new, version of you. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. And I love all of that you've shared. It's always so beautiful. I know that there's going to be listeners that are going to want to work with you, reach out to you. So we're going to make sure and put all of that information in the show notes below. If you would like to reach out to Jeni and work with her, I highly recommend it. She is a great coach. And as you've just heard, she has got several components that she's really kind of tweaked. It seems like to be very doable. And I love that you're focusing a lot on that mindset piece because we know it's just so important. And I think that another point that you made that I think will be a great one to remind us all as well is that whole idea about keeping promises to ourselves, how important that is. Really is.
It, it is. It's so powerful because when we can show up for ourselves, we are not just keeping the promise to ourselves for ourselves, but
Mhm.
the people that we love, the people that we interact with benefit from that.
Mhm.
Our spouse sees this empowered woman, this strong, capable woman, and that's, attractive.
Yeah,
And our kids get to see a mom that is strong and is evolving and that has created a life beyond being just a mom,
mhm.
and it models that for them.
That's right.
Because I think with young adult children, they feel the pressure to like, oh my gosh, I have to pick what I want to do for the rest of my life, and this is it until. But as moms in midlife can be like, you can kind of reinvent yourself, or you can create new interests and new hobbies. And this is something I'm working on this year is to intentionally put myself in being a beginner at something. I just
Mhm.
recently took up needle pointing. And I bought a canvas online, and then I thought, I don't even own a needle and thread. So I went to a local needlepoint store. So I bought a small canvas, brought it home, and I could barely thread the needle. And within
Mhm.
10 minutes, my brain wanted to offer me, like, this isn't for me. Like, just,
Mhm.
when that canvas that you order come in, just sell it to someone else or just, write it off as a loss. And then I thought, my coach brain turned on and said, no, it's just you're new at it.
Right. That's right.
I'm just a beginner, and it's been such a fun learning experience. And
Mhm.
a, a, just so happened a local woman created a needlepoint club that had the first meeting last night, and I went to that, and it was just
Mhm.
so fun to meet other women. There were women from their 20s to their 70s in there, and
Mhm.
people that were experts at it and have been doing it for 20 to 40 years, and then
Mhm.
people that just started 3 days ago. So it's a lot of fun to, to try something new, to get out of your comfort zone and to just, work on becoming the woman God has called you to be and to know that, what you are for one season of life, what God calls you to for one season of life isn't all that he calls you to. We
That's
have
right.
so many powerful seasons throughout our lives that we can go all in on.
That's right.
And so that's what I'm
That's
doing for myself and helping other women do in their lives.
That's right. That's beautiful. I love that so much. And that whole needlepoint example is such a great example of how learning something new is very good for our brain health itself.
Yeah.
So super good. I recently completed the brain health certification, and that's one of the things that he talked about in there is that learning something new is very good for the longevity of our brain health. And so, how cool that you're doing that.
Yes,
I love
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, last summer also I'm learning Spanish on that Duolingo app.
Oh, yes.
Don't
So
try to talk to me in Spanish. But yeah, my husband and I traveled to Europe last summer for our 25th wedding anniversary. And, when you go to Europe, you're just so many people are bilingual, trilingual. And
mm,
and as Americans, we don't face it. Everywhere you go, most people can speak English. But I thought,
mhm.
what a great way, exactly that, for my brain health
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to learn something new with just a few little minutes, a few minutes a day spent on something. But yeah, brain health is really important, and we need to
Yes.
be
Mhm.
mindful of that as we age as well.
Yeah, exactly. And
Hmm.
this idea about creating kind of like a next chapter, so to speak, like you're
Hmm.
talking about recreating, reinventing ourselves, and really looking at the desires that God puts on our heart. I just love what you're sharing with us today. I think that's been very inspirational for our listeners. And I just want to make sure, is there any one last thing you would like to share or a tip with us before we close out today?
Oh my goodness, this is a good question. I guess it would be, I would say a tip was if you are not a journaler, go buy an inexpensive notebook and start, just set a timer for 3 minutes. That's what we do in my challenge. And do what, I call a brain dump. Just when you wake up in the morning, whatever on your mind, put that in, on paper. It's amazing the clarity that you can get.
Mm,
Um, and then just increase from time. I can talk more about like um, journaling for longer periods of time, but there is benefits in just starting that habit. So that's a tip that I would think that every woman would benefit for. And then also just don't be afraid to change. I know
mm,
I feel like society tells us like, oh, you've changed. If we kind of take that as a negative,
mm,
but we need to reframe that. Like, I
mm,
hope that I'm not the same woman that I was even at 40 years old. I'll take it as a compliment if
mm.
someone says, you've changed.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. To the good.
To the good. God's given
Yeah.
this wonderful life to experience, and we get to grow and change and experience all that He has called us to. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid of change. It's uncomfortable. It's
Right.
scary. I was
Yeah.
nervous yesterday going to my little needlepoint club because I didn't know anyone. But
Mm,
I met the most wonderful women. So
mm,
growth comes in our discomfort
mhm,
and
mhm.
joy. I think joy comes from being
That's right.
uncomfortable.
Mhm. Yep. Growth and joy. We can experience both.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for sharing these great ideas and mindsets and tips with us today. I really appreciate you being here. And just
Always fun.
remember, if you're listening, that you guys can reach out to Jenny in the show notes below. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Stephanie. It's always fun.
Yes.